Welcome back to another episode of Rethink Real Estate, and today we're going to address the comment that is driving me crazy from agents is, I hate low offers. Let's talk about why low offers actually have great benefit, regardless of whether you're doing auction or traditional. Welcome to Rethink Real Estate. My name is Ben Brady, and this is a real estate podcast aimed to deliver sales strategies, marketing tips, and business insights from industry experts and myself to build a listing-focused business for the future. Let's get into it. Hey team, welcome back to another episode of Rethink Real Estate. And today, in the session that I'm going to quickly run through is a comment that is coming up quite often within our auction process, and it just speaks to the perspective when I hear this comment out of an agent's mouth is they just don't understand how to process real estate in a balanced marketplace, and that's the marketplace that we're in at the moment. Okay, is that balanced marketplace where things aren't moving as quickly as they once did. Yes, you still have one or two properties within a marketplace that are very, very hot and that move quickly. There's no question about that. But welcome back to the reality of real estate and having to actually work for the commissional income that we are getting. I know it's a harsh reality, but one of the things that we constantly are facing, and it really does speak to whether or not an agent understands real estate or they don't. The first comment that comes out of their mouth when we get low offers on an auction property at the bidding to start from price is that, oh, I hate low offers, and people just don't understand that the property's worth more, and that you start to get into that position of defending the property, which is fine. That's no problem whatsoever. But the reality is, what does a low offer give us? And that's what I want to talk through today, because I think a low offer is an absolute gift. One is that it gets you to have a conversation with your sellers that is a very direct one and gives you an understanding of, hey, what possibly is their bottom dollar line? Now, I'm not saying, and this is one of the things that people are like, well, I hate low offers, or people keep putting in low offers. I would rather 3, 10, 15, 100 low offers than one offer that is too high that creates a false economy with all of these contingencies or these terms against it that make it not even worth the paper that it's ultimately written on. So again, folks, I would rather those low offers so that then you can go and have that conversation with the seller. Now, the first low offer, absolutely, could just be a low ball opportunist that, yes, your seller's probably going to react poorly to. But the second one that comes in gives you an opportunity to have a conversation. Mr. and Ms. Seller, I guess that, realistically, if this continues to happen, we're probably going to have to really address this. Again, I'm not asking you to accept anything less than what we think the property is worth. There's no question about that. But giving an understanding, what is the level of motivation you have to move this property in today's marketplace? These are conversations, guys, breaking out a dialogue, and these are questions that you can absolutely say and have with your seller in these moments, because you can't have them in a listing presentation. Going through and having that conversation up front with them, I don't care who you are. People are like, oh, no, I don't let sellers do this, and I don't let them price this, and I have that conversation with them up front. No, you don't. Not if you really want the listing, guys. If you really don't want the listing, yeah, I'm sure that you're probably a little bit more blunt or prickly in the approach that you have with them up front to make sure that it's not going to be a bad investment of your time. There's a couple of different situations at the moment where we've got a couple of auctions on, and we've just made a clear decision that these people are not going to be agents that ever understand the auction concept, and they shouldn't do auction ever really again. Okay. And that's a harsh decision to make, but they keep getting offers. Like, we've had one property, it's a Florida property, that has had 7 offers within $50,000 of each other on a $3 million property. Where do you think the marketplace sits at the moment? Now, we're going to put those offers into competition and take it through to a live auction. Now, we're probably going to get a little bit more, but it's still less than what the seller ultimately wanted for the property. And again, that is a conversation that it has enabled us to have a conversation with the seller about value. However, the agent still is in denial in the sense of, oh, no, I think it could be worth more. So at the end of the day, they're people that don't even want us to have the conversation with the seller, because we've said, let's have a conversation with the seller. It's pretty clear about what the market value is. And they're like, no, I'll do it. And they're not even communicating with the seller. They're just sending them the emails of the offer and giving them updates and telling them, hey, look, things could change by the end of the year or early next year or with the election, making excuses for the marketplace, which is fine. If the seller has the flexibility to hold on to the property, no problem whatsoever. But the reality of not being able to jump on the phone and have a conversation with the seller about the reality of the marketplace in that moment is something that I've made a decision that those people shouldn't do auction. They just don't understand it. They don't understand using these offers in order to educate the seller. And even if the seller doesn't accept it, maybe it gets a more competitive list price on the property post that. Or maybe it gets them to remove the property from the marketplace quicker so that therefore you can free up your time and not have any relationships that start to tarnish based on the fact that you haven't done your job in selling the property. Okay, getting people answers quickly of whether or not it will sell or it won't sell is the benefit of what auction is, and it should be the benefit of what you're going for your process, regardless of whether you use auction or not, because not providing your sellers with answers is the only thing that they will get frustrated with, regardless of what your relationship ultimately is. Like, we have a situation of a property at the moment. It's in Oregon. Okay. It is a very, very unique property, and the seller knows that, but it's approaching 6 months that it's been on the marketplace, and we haven't even been able to produce a result for them. We took it through auction. We couldn't even get anything with that, with a very, very low bidding to start from, around $3 million, where, they're looking or hoping that the property's value is $6 million. They are open to listening to anything, and we can't get anybody to offer on this property at any value. That relationship is starting to be definitely tested. And these people are very, very close to the agent. Regardless of not being able to produce a regardless of your relationship, if you're not able to produce a result and give them some type of indication of market value so that they have some direction, it goes in it can go in a very, very opposite direction to the one you want. Now, getting back to the main point is that comment of I hate low offers. I think the one thing that we need to understand with low offers, outside of the fact of it's an opportunity to educate your seller, we can use them in the auction process as leverage of somebody else possibly wanting to buy the property prior to auction. What is your level of interest, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer or Mr. Agent? What is your client's level of interest? It allows you to have a direct conversation with the agent. The other thing that it does is it creates social validation. Let's not forget how important it is to get social validation. Had a property up in Oregon the other day. We didn't sell it before on auction day, but we got it really well priced afterwards, had a great deal of interest. We ended up getting 3 offers on that property within the same vicinity of time because we could tell them that we had another offer on the property. Social validation. And we couldn't get that happening traditionally before we converted it to an auction. In the auction process, we couldn't get multiple parties to place bids on the property or multiple parties to place an offer. So we then priced it competitively. But the moment that there was that traditional offer on the property, there was social validation that we could tell others that were calling about the property, hey, we have an offer on the property. Okay, we're making a decision on that later on today. What is your level of interest? 3 offers come in. Social validation is really important. People want to know that somebody else is going to do that at the same time. Same with investing, same with people, trends and different things. It is the absolute same thing. So social validation is a very, very important part of any real estate transaction, in the sense that they need to see others that want it. They need to see that others want to buy that property and have committed to make an offer so that they feel comfortable about making that decision as well. Because there is a part to all of this that a lot of people think about, is that when we go to sell the property again, they want to know that there's a level of interest in the property. A lot of people always say as buyers, oh, I just want a deal. I'm looking for a really big opportunity. That's fine. But if it's that big a missed opportunity, then there's something that actually isn't happening that should be happening for that seller, is full market exposure. And at the end of the day, if the property is that bigger opportunity and you as a consumer is getting a consumer or a buyer is getting an opportunity to purchase that, that means that the realtor that obviously knows about the deal hasn't done a great enough job exposing it, or is trying to do wholesaling, or isn't interested in exposing it, or maybe that person has gone direct to the seller. Who knows? But where I'm going with this is that any property that we have ever purchased personally, we've always purchased it in a competitive situation because, again, we want good real estate, good location, and it needs to meet all of the criteria. And that same criteria is the very same criteria that many other buyers want, okay? And if it isn't a competitive situation for that property, then the resale of that is going to have to be in a very, very, very different condition or very, very different market. But leading back to the entire point, don't say you hate low offers, because they create an opportunity. 1, to have a direct conversation with your seller. 2, to have a direct conversation with buyers and agents about their level of interest, because there is an offer on the property that may or may not stop the auction, or there is an offer on the property that we are in the midst of negotiating at the moment if it's traditional. Create that social validation so that you can have direct conversations with people. Embrace low offers, because it allows you to really cut through and understand where everything is at that individual time. Hopefully that helps. So about 75% of our audience hasn't liked, followed, or subscribed to our podcast. It would mean the world to us, and it would help this podcast more than you know to expand our reach if you were to like, follow, or subscribe on any of the platforms that you're watching or listening on. Thanks again.